If you're a creator wondering how you can utilize LinkedIn to grow your online presence, you have come to the right place. In this video, I interviewed Trish Lindo, Senior Creator Manager at LinkedIn, and she's going to share her expert opinion on what type of content does best on LinkedIn and how you can utilize it to grow your influence. So keep watching. Hi, I'm Liz. I'm a social media strategist, influencer marketing consultant, and a Los Angeles content creator. I create videos about social media tips and content monetization. I upload videos just like this every week, so please hit the subscribe button. I wanted to thank Trish Lindo, the Senior Creator Manager at LinkedIn, for joining us today. Hi, Trish.
Hey, Liz.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's super kind of you to have me here in your beautiful home.
I would love it if you would introduce yourself.
Thank you. Yes, so I'm Trish Lindo, Senior Creator Manager at LinkedIn. I work with creators on the LinkedIn platform. It's a fun job.
That's amazing. So we wanted to get your expert opinion today on how creators can utilize LinkedIn. And I'm going to jump into the first question that we have for Trish. And that is, how is LinkedIn different from other social media platforms, and how can creators use LinkedIn for unique opportunities?
Our mission at LinkedIn is to create economic wealth for all of our members. And one of the ways that we do that is by supporting creators on the platform. Creators show up on the platform and they share their content, they share their authentic stories. I know a lot of people, when they think LinkedIn, it's only a place for, hey, I'm looking for a job.
Right, yeah.
But it's so much more than that now. You know, it is a place where you can create content to build your personal brand and to build your businesses. Creators have told us that they have received several opportunities, brand partnerships, interview requests. Yeah, it's awesome. And all of that is, you know, with InMail or messages. Sometimes it's you know, happening in the content, in the comment section. And, you know, a lot of our creators are finding more opportunities than they ever thought possible on LinkedIn. And really all it is just by them creating content on a regular basis.
Sounds great. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
And that takes me to our next question. What are the best strategies to build a personal brand on LinkedIn?
But the biggest thing that you can do on LinkedIn is basically to show up consistently, right? And that's anywhere on any social platform, is the consistency. Consistency is key, we all know that. So you show up on LinkedIn, you create content on a regular basis, best practices of creating content 3 to 5 times per week, and sharing your stories using hashtags 3 to 5 times, 3 to 5 hashtags on each post. The number one thing, if you've never created content before on LinkedIn and you're like, okay, I'm gonna like start creating content on LinkedIn, you wanna turn on creator mode. So creator mode changes your, changes from connect to follow. So that will be, if someone lands on your page, they will be able to follow you immediately. The also big thing about creator mode is that it gives you access to additional tools. So you'll automatically get access to newsletters, LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn audio events, which is great. So you can create content however you like. You can also do up to 5 hashtags on your profile right at the top underneath your picture, where you can basically share with everyone the topics that you talk about and that you're most concerned about. So when someone lands on your page, they're like, oh, this is great. This is, you know, if let's say creator economy is what you're into, you can have that as one of your hashtags and people will want to know more about it because they see that on your platform. But you open up a world of benefits by having creator mode on, and an opportunity for bigger growth on the platform because you're connecting with like-minded people. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity. A lot of people forget that they can just turn on creator mode, and you can turn on creator mode even if you're like looking for a job as well. It doesn't mean that, I know a lot of people get nervous and they say, you know, well, I'm not a creator, you know, but you can have that creator mode on. In addition to, it's just something to keep in mind, is that everyone's a creator. If you're creating content,
creators on LinkedIn.
Yeah, you know, a creator on LinkedIn is a creator anywhere else. It's someone who creates content on a regular basis. And that content is just different from each platform, you know, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok, and LinkedIn. It's just, if you're creating content on a regular basis, you're a content creator.
Right, so anyone that has educational or inspirational information to share on LinkedIn is a creator.
Is a creator, absolutely. You don't have to have, additional degrees or anything like that. I know it's LinkedIn, but that's not what it's about. We have Fortune 500 executives that are creating content. We have creators who are huge on TikTok who create content on LinkedIn, but they basically what they do, they just show up in an authentic way that makes sense for their audience and for them to continue to build their personal brands and their businesses.
And is the creator mode available to everyone automatically right now?
Yes, it is.
Excellent.
Everyone has access to creator mode. It's just you scroll down, if you're on your home page and your profile, you scroll down and there's a little toggle that says creator mode. And once you pop that on, you get the 5 hashtags and everything. And as long as your profile meets all the trust and safety guidelines, you will have access to a suite of those tools I mentioned earlier.
I hope you guys are taking notes. These are definitely useful information that we can use to optimize our visibility on LinkedIn. We touched on how we should be consistent on LinkedIn, and I totally agree. That goes with any social media platform. What type of content do you suggest creating on LinkedIn that will do well on LinkedIn and yet resonate with our audience?
That question is a broad one. Creating content, it depends on the type of content you want to create. It isn't a one size fits all. Liz, I know you are a content creator. You talk about how you can show up on various platforms, what you need to do to optimize your content. You can share that on LinkedIn. There are people who are curious about that. They want to know, So it's whatever content that resonates with you and your audience. We have creators who are entrepreneurs who talk about what it means to be an entrepreneur, what it takes to build a business. We have people who talk about wellness on LinkedIn. Here are the steps that you can take to avoid burnout. There's also people who are focused on careers and helping people to get another job. So they're constantly giving tips on here's what you need to do to optimize your resume and that sort of thing. So it is across the board, and it just makes sense for whatever it is that you're interested in. LinkedIn doesn't dictate what type of content. We want people to spark conversation on the platform and to show up as their authentic selves. So there is no rules or anything rigid that you have to worry about because it's LinkedIn. It's not like that at all.
Wherever your expertise lies, that's what you should share on LinkedIn.
Exactly.
What would be your advice to lifestyle and fashion influencers? How can they use LinkedIn?
What's really interesting is that we have a lot of lifestyle and fashion influencers on the platform already. We also have professional photographers on the platform who are sharing their content, who have been able to get tons of opportunity because if you think about it, all the Fortune 500 companies are on LinkedIn. So you have these different marketing teams that are reaching out to these photographers like, hey, we want to work with you. We saw your work on LinkedIn. We want to work with you. For fashion, I work with a couple of fashion creators who share tips for what to wear to different events, what to wear to work, how to navigate your fashion style. I've seen people talking about the Met Gala, in different fashion events that are happening, what you need to wear. Summer is coming up. Here are the best, outfits you need to have for summer. There are men and women on that platform who not only have the economic opportunity to do that, but they are looking for information. We all don't know everything. Even executives need help with a little bit of their style and fashion.
That's true, right?
So yeah.
Well, LinkedIn has changed a lot.
Absolutely.
Since when I joined it. It was all about business, making connections and networking. And now the other day I saw that Sophia Richie's wedding took over LinkedIn, and I was like, we have come a long way. LinkedIn has changed a lot.
Yes.
What type of content would you suggest sharing on what format?
It's really just up to you and how you prefer to show up. I have creators who prefer to share their content via video because they're like, that's easy for me, I get straight to the point. Then you have your other content creators who prefer just writing a post. They're like, I don't want to be on camera, I'm just gonna do text instead. You can also do LinkedIn Live. There are people who prefer to show up on the platform doing lives all the time. So it's really whatever you're comfortable with. We do encourage you to try different formats on the platform just to see what works for you and what your audience prefers to, to watch and engage with your content. But you can definitely switch it up, just like on any other platform. Sometimes you do an image, sometimes you do a video, sometimes you do a little bit of both, sometimes you go live. Those opportunities are available to you on LinkedIn as well.
But there's no one type of content.
There's no one type of content. No, it's definitely whatever you want to do and whatever you're most comfortable with, for sure.
Do you suggest repurposing content that we share on other social media platforms like TikTok and Reels?
Yes.
On LinkedIn?
Yes, absolutely. And we've seen a lot of people do that as well. I will say share the content, but just kind of reframe the story, right? So if you're sharing something on TikTok and maybe it's supposed to be, something funnier, and don't get me wrong, there's funny content on LinkedIn as well. I see it every day, which is great. It's awesome. But maybe just kind of reframe it for the audience, because every platform has a different audience, right? And a different sensibility. So, if you're gonna share something that you shared on a reel, maybe, on Instagram, we're having a little bit more fun. We're just saying, hey, here's something fun you need to do when you're in LA, that kind of thing. But then maybe for LinkedIn, because now you're thinking a little bit broader, you're saying, hey, here's something fun to do when you're going on vacation in LA, you're taking the family. Summer is coming up, the kids are out of school, we're all taking vacations. So here's something fun you can do the next time you're in LA. So it's just a little slight reframe, just more of an understanding of the audience, as now we're getting into the summer months, people are thinking about taking vacations, Memorial and July 4th holidays are coming up. Yeah. So just kind of just doing those slight reframes, considering the audience on the platform.
And that takes us to our next question for Trish. What are the mistakes that you've seen creators make on LinkedIn?
I don't really consider a ton of things that people do mistakes on LinkedIn, but I would say the biggest thing is to remember consistency. Consistency is key, and a lot of people forget that, whether you post 1 month and then you disappear for 6 months, is really sort of showing up on a regular basis. And I think the other thing to keep in mind is that, LinkedIn is a place to grow your audience and build your network. So you don't want to just sort of show up when you need something. So let's say, hey, I'm showing up because I just got laid off and I'm just looking for an opportunity. You want to continue to build those relationships and build that network so that when something does happen, that network is already strong and healthy and ready to help you. So I think that's one of the things that I would say is the most important thing to keep in mind when you are creating content on LinkedIn.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing that. I was also wondering, how can we leverage LinkedIn groups and communities to grow our audience?
A lot of the things that people forget are really just sort of like the basics for creating content. A lot of it is building community and building your network. So how do you do that? And that is, making friends. So you make friends by, commenting on other people's posts, messaging someone, say, hey, do you have like a, time for, a chat, maybe like a 10-minute chat. I really would like to learn more about the work that you're doing. I'm excited about this project that I saw you post about, so that's one of the ways that you can build that community and make it a bit stronger. I think sometimes we forget that we're all just people, we all want to further our careers and further our network and build our personal brands. And people actually are much nicer than we realize. And really all it takes is just ask for what you want. So when you're working with people and you're on the platform, whether it's your coworkers or it's somebody that you've never met, really what it's all about is, being kind and showing up in whether it's someone's messages and asking for help. I've seen also people ask for help in posts that they do and say, hey, I'm working on this project and I don't know how to do X, Y, and Z. Can someone help me? Can you tell me how I need to do this? And you'll be surprised how many people want to help and will show up to help. You just have to ask.
And I just wanted to add that I've seen influencer marketing managers that will post what type of influencers they're looking for, which campaigns. So that's also a great reason to be on LinkedIn and different groups for influencer marketing or creator economy. And that's how you can land brand partnerships. My last question for you is, what are the emerging trends that you're seeing on LinkedIn for creators? And if you have anything to add for best practices for influencers or creators on LinkedIn.
The trends that we're seeing on LinkedIn is really people just sparking conversation on the platform, is showing up as their authentic selves. So content is whatever makes sense for you and your personal brand. It doesn't have to be like anyone else. There are people who talk about topics that, may be a bit niche, but it works for them and it works for their business. So what I would urge everyone to do is, if you're considering creating content on LinkedIn, is to think about your why. Why am I showing up on this platform, and how can I leverage my network to further grow my personal brand and my business if you have one? So a lot of people create content specifically to share products and goods. They want to maybe get more interviews in the press, or maybe get brand partnerships, or even maybe do interviews like this. Understand what your why is before you start creating content, and then go in that direction. And again, consistency. Decide the type of direction that you want to go in and be consistent. Like anything else, when you start, you're gonna kind of stumble a little bit, you're gonna try and figure it out. But the only way you figure out how to be better and how to grow on LinkedIn, like any other platform, is by trial and error. And you don't know that if you're not showing up on a consistent basis. You can't grow a network if you only show up on occasion, right? Just like any other relationship, right? Friendships, with your friends or your parents or whatever. If you only, see your friend once a year, or, prioritize seeing a friend once a year, is that a relationship?
That's a great point.
Yeah,
That's a great point.
The answer is that's no.
So the biggest takeaway is to stay consistent.
Absolutely.
No matter which social media platform you're on. And I just wanted to share that I started sharing social media tips on LinkedIn after my conversation with Trish about a month or two ago. And I'm so grateful that she's sharing her knowledge, not just with me, but with all of us. So I want to thank you, Trish, for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me, Liz. This has been really great, and I'm happy to connect with your audience here. If anyone wants to reach out to me, they can find me on LinkedIn, Trish Lindo. Not hard to find. And if you have any questions about creating content, you can DM me. I'm always there, I'm always on. I think the biggest takeaway is consistency, and then understanding your why, your overall why, creating content on the platform. And know that LinkedIn is a place for sparking conversation. It's a place for building your network with other authentic voices who are looking to do the same thing that you're doing, which is to grow their presence and their businesses and their personal brand in a way that they never thought imaginable. So it is really a place that I think it's still an untapped market, because a lot of people don't realize the power of LinkedIn. It's still sort of, people are like, LinkedIn, what? But that's all the more reason why you should start creating content on LinkedIn, because it is a place where, if you think about it, all the Fortune 500 companies and heads of those corporations are right there. All the decision makers that you need are on LinkedIn. So why not?
It's an excellent point too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again for joining us. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please reach out to Trish on LinkedIn, or just drop it in the comment section. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.